Greetings from northern Ghana. This country is currently our largest distribution outlet for food and Bibles in all of Africa. While Islam is only 20% of the overall population, it is growing, especially here in the northern regions where it is expanding more rapidly than Christianity. A quarter of the population lives below the poverty line, and while the average monthly salary in America is around $5,000, in Ghana it is closer to $750. When I think about our brothers and sisters in Christ in poor communities around the world, I am reminded that their struggle for the basic necessities of life is an ongoing challenge. Their lives require a daily exercise of faith in God's provision that is so inspiring to me. I can also take comfort in Jesus' words in Matthew 6, where he says, "Do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes?" Getting to travel the world, especially to regions where many communities face ongoing economic challenges, like here in northern Ghana, always makes the contrast with America so stark to me, because very few of us struggle for these basic necessities of life. After all, we live in Disney World, the most prosperous nation the world has ever seen, and everything is at our fingertips. We complain about not having enough money for extra things beyond the necessities. While many communities here model faith in the midst of material lack, in wealthier societies, we often face different spiritual challenges like distraction, excess, and complacency. So many of us, Christians, daily take up our phone and our remote control instead of our cross to follow Christ. Now, recently I have been contemplating Paul's words in Philippians 4:11 through 13. I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty, and I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation. Whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want, I can do all things through Him who gives me strength. Well, if you're like me, when reading this passage, we mainly focus on trying to be content when we don't have something. And so we try to exercise contentment and faith when we don't have the job we want, the house we want, the financial security we want, and the health we want, and so on. However, I want you to consider an additional point. In this passage, Paul is treating both need and plenty the same. Both can be a source of discontentment. Let me share an example with you from the life of Feed the Hunger. I have served with this ministry for 30 years now, hard to believe. And in reality, I have been with the ministry my whole life because it was started by my parents before I was born. But that is beside the point. In my three decades on staff, my recollection is that our finances have been stable in only around a fourth of all these years. And so the staff and I have strived to learn the lesson of being content in the lean times with lean resources. Now, by God's grace, we are currently in a season of growth. And so the biblical message I am focusing on is being content with plenty. We need to be content when we have enough, just as much as when we are in times that are tight. And as Americans, we often don't dwell on the fact that we really do have plenty in comparison to most of the world. We really do need to accept and show gratitude for all that God has given us that we don't deserve. We need to be content with plenty. Having a proper perspective on the shortness of life is essential to contentment. James, the brother of Jesus, encourages us to have a humble mindset when he says, "You don't even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes." Gratitude for salvation in this short episode called life should help us strive for contentment and also be driven to share the message of Christ with others. We can also look to other words from Paul to guide us in this crucial element of the Christian walk. He reminds us in 1 Timothy that godliness with contentment is great gain, for we brought nothing into this world and we can take nothing out of it. But if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. So, we are supposed to be grateful to the Lord for whatever we have, and we must rely on Him just as much when we have plenty as when we are in want. Whichever camp you currently find yourself in, remember to keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have, because God has said, "Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you." The only way to be content is to focus on Jesus. Now, I started this video by quoting from Jesus in Matthew 6, so let's close there too. The true source of contentment is to believe in Christ and seek first His kingdom and His righteousness. Then the basics of life will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough troubles of its own. True contentment isn't found in what we possess or lack, but in who possesses us, and that's Christ. Whether in seasons of abundance or scarcity, He is our strength, our source, and our satisfaction. So let me encourage you to live each day with both contentment and purpose. Let the worries of this world melt away as you focus on Christ and the eternal. God bless you.